one last time. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the final episode of Season 2 of Go-To Markets, powered by PodDecks, fueled by Go Fuel. Joining me on the show today, very special show, Super Bowl 57. Yeah, Super Bowl 57 is here. Payton Doyle, Justin Marville, guru of Guru's Film Room, and Steezy A Smith, who is always late, always trying to make an entrance, will be here in a matter of moments. What's up, fellas? How we doing tonight?
This is how I feel right now.
Are you drinking a Diet Coke? Are you drinking a Diet Coke? Why are you drinking a Diet Coke?
Actually, no. You know, I'm in this beautiful, just like my guy Steezy, in the beautiful mountain drop of the Seattle, Washington, the Mount Rainier. So I'm giving justice to a Rainier beer.
Somebody told me it should not have come on tonight. Somebody told me a legit excuse.
And I just opened it. Boom. I am ready to have some fun.
This is gonna be a very long night. I appreciate all of you guys for coming on. Steezy, whenever he gets here, I don't know. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in and watching for the final episode of Season 2 of Go Talk Markets. It's been an amazing ride. Let's jump right into it. Super Bowl 57 is here, and there is a lot to discuss. Payton, you haven't been here in a while, so we'll start with you. The Philadelphia Eagles, 1 seed in NFC, obviously NFC champions. Their road to the Super Bowl, what got them here?
Well, it was really when they went out and traded for A.J. Brown. That really helped elevate this offense to another dimension. And it's funny because back, even as far as 5-10 years ago, people really didn't value receivers that much. But now, you see the Eagles, you see that when the Cincinnati Bengals go out and get Jamar Chase, when the Dolphins go out and get Tyreek Hill, we see how this can instantly change and impact the team from the moment they set on the field. So the only team that really didn't work for this offseason was the Raiders when they got Devontae Adams. But that was a whole nother mess in itself. Now, of course, they have the best cornerback duo in the league, and that defense has been absolutely locked down the entire year. But it really started when they went out and got A.J. Brown. That was the big splash in the offseason that helped propel that team into now a Super Bowl contender from what was just a playoff contender from last year.
Guru, since apparently you've adopted this team as of 2.5 weeks ago, what got the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl?
Well, I'm not going to take my throne off my guy Justin. So, Payton, I think you might be the smartest guy in this community right now, man, because you just hit it right on the numbers, brother. You're a smart, intelligent guy. I already knew you're one of the smartest guys outside of me in this panel. So I totally agree with you. I think it's the addition of A.J. Brown. I mean, he changed everything as far as the Philadelphia Eagles, as far as their physicality, because we know offensively, the offensive line is very physical. And one thing we got to know is A.J. Brown is one of the most physical route runner, one of the most physical receiver. I know people talk about Deebo Samuels as far as physicality, but I think he's more of his physicality as far as athletic-wise. But I'm talking about receiving-wise, I don't think anyone in the NFL is more physical than A.J. Brown. And one thing people know, also noticing about the Eagles that I love about their receiving core is they're the best blocking receiving core in all of football. Like when A.J. Brown was in Tennessee, he was the best blocking receiver in all of football. And now he brought that same attitude and that physicality. And that's why you see a lot of powerful running plays, especially outside stretch running plays and toss running plays, because this is the best blocking receiving core in all of football. So I do believe the attitude, the injection of that attitude of A.J. Brown, I think that's really the difference to what made the Eagles who they are currently.
Justin, are you going to keep singing the praises of A.J. Brown?
I am disappointed in Payton. I expected this from Guru because I know Guru loves his skill position players, but I'm disappointed, Payton. No, make no mistake, yes, A.J. Brown did elevate the level of play of Jalen Hurts, right? And a lot of this, what we've seen, you can credit Jalen Hurts' development for where the Eagles are. But I said this time and time and time again, football games are not won by skill position players. Football games are won in the trenches. And I am disappointed, Payton, in not hitting the nail on the head. The strength of this football team lies in its two lanes, its offensive lane and its defensive lane. Let's start at the real strength of this team, which is its offensive lane. All 5 of their starters, none of them individually ranked lower than 7th in individual rankings at their positions. You have Jordan Mailata on the left as a left tackle. You have the best center, or arguably the best center, in Jason Kelsey, and then arguably the best right tackle in all of football in Lane Johnson. Their offense is predicated on how great that offensive line is. You can't get penetration in the passing game, and then when they're running the football, they just move you. They legit move you. I saw that against San Francisco's front seven, and San Francisco arguably had the best defense in the entire football league, and they just could not do anything against that offensive lane. And then in defensive lane, I know I have some issues in terms of them stopping the run, but in terms of getting after the passer, like, this may be the best unit in terms of simple pass rush. Led the league in sacks, led the league in quarterback hits, led the league in quarterback pressures. The Philadelphia Eagles have built the football team, or their football team, the way you're supposed to build it. They started at their lanes and went out. Yes, Jalen Hurts is going to get a lot of credit for his development, which you can pin to bring in A.J. Brown. You can pin on his personal development and growth. You can pin on Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen, tailoring the offense more, as an RPO situation, more to his physical talents. But, guys, the strength of the Philadelphia Eagles is not their quarterback. It's not their receiving group. It is their 2 lanes, that offensive lane and that defensive lane.
Payton, Justin always finds a way to show his age, just like the way that he talks. It's just so slow. It's ridiculous.
One in the trenches.
The trenches.
And
It's 1985.
And that is so wrong, because, Justin is Mr. Wrong. That's what he is. That the only time he's right is when he's making the right turn. But he's totally wrong, because last year it's the same starting offensive line for the last 2 seasons, and the last year they won 9 or 10 games.
And they got the playoffs, right?
No. It's the exact same 5 guys. Same one of them.
And they got the playoffs, right?
Oh, did they? Were they 16-3?
They got the playoffs, right?
Yes, they did. But we said what got them to the Super Bowl level. So you know what did?
And what got them to the Super Bowl level when they improved their defensive line, and their defensive line
was
the best in football, right?
So you know what? The thing is, in life, the most expensive things means you got the finest things. And the most expensive things on the entire offense of the Philadelphia Eagles is A.J. Brown. So I know you like stats. I know you like to do PFF, or they rank 7, they rank this, they rank that. But you follow the money. In life, you follow the money, don't follow PFF. And the money says A.J. Brown was the biggest acquisition. And you know what? And he's the most expensive player on the whole entire Philadelphia Eagles offense.
Before Dwayne jumps in here, for those who are uneducated and they try to do things to educate you, please note wide receivers do not win games. So let's put that up there.
Who was the Super Bowl MVP last year?
Who was the Super Bowl MVP last year?
Cooper
The
Kupp.
best receiver on the football field.
Hold on. That was wrong, because we all know that Aaron Donald should have won the MVP. Aaron Donald should have won Super Bowl MVP.
Shoot up. But I'm saying who did, not shoot up. Who did?
So let's be real. Aaron Donald should have won Super Bowl.
So what I recall, the last drive, they threw the ball to one guy, like 8 straight plays. One guy, and nobody could stop him. And he was the best receiver in the whole entire league.
And then the actual 2 game-winning plays on defense, who made them?
Hold up. How did they get winning plays? Who gave him the lead? Who gave him the lead, though? Because from what I recall,
you forgot about the other side of football. The 2 game-winning plays,
so Aaron Donald
the very last play of the game.
And we could agree that the Bengals were the worst offensive line unit in football. Could we agree on that last year?
Yes. So
so Aaron Donald dominated the worst offensive line in football.
So that points to my whole soliloquy that trench play wins games.
Well, Justin, this is what I'll say.
It doesn't support your claim that Aaron Donald should have been MVP if he was matched up against the worst. If you're matched up against the worst line in football, you dominate it. It's the worst line in football.
But he dominated, right?
It's the worst line in football.
We dominated it.
And for my info, I think
it's the worst.
I don't think Aaron Donald. I thought the other dude from I forgot the dude went to Buffalo. I thought he had the better game than Aaron Donald. That's what I'm saying.
Or okay, yeah, cut his mic, somebody.
Von Miller
cut his mic
out.
They cut his mic right now. You're crazy.
Go ahead, Payton.
This is what I have to say. Yes, the offensive line is a big reason why they got there. However, when Jalen Hurts can throw the ball half a second to a second faster because his receivers are getting open quicker, it makes the offensive line look just a little bit better. And you know that when you just get it just out quick in the pocket, just that much faster, that's the difference between a sack and a completion. So that could play a big role in the offensive line is the receivers getting open quicker off the line.
Or you could just have good offensive line players like Lane Johnson.
Hey, I bet you.
No, they had it too, but they had those guys last year.
Derrick Henry had a great offensive line the last couple of years, and we don't see him.
Here's what he said. Derrick Henry's had a great offensive line a couple of years, and he has won Super Bowl. Here's what I'll say, and I think this might actually be the most underrated part of the Philadelphia Eagles football team. Is I think the secondary is the reason why they're in the Super Bowl. Right, because this defensive line unit had arguably one of, if not the greatest collective season as a defensive line, as far as there's like 3 or 4 players that had double-digit sacks on the season, right? Like when we're talking about that disruption, like how many times this season that we see the Philadelphia Eagles have to send more than 4 to get to the quarterback? Not many. There weren't many blitzes. Like that front 4 was just completely dominant, and a lot of that had to do with the acquisition of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. A lot had to do with the acquisition of James Bradbury and the ability to bolster that secondary. And so now you have a secondary that can hold their own better in man coverage, can hold their own better in those zone coverages. They can do those things. And so now that gives that front 4 and, on the occasion, those linebackers more time to get back to the quarterback. This secondary, I think, is the one part about this football team that hasn't been talked about enough. Like we talked about Hassan Reddick, and we talked about Sweat, and we've talked about the importance of Jordan Davis, and we've talked about Ndamukong Suh. Now he's there. We've talked about the wide receivers. Obviously, we've talked about Jalen Hurts, we've talked about the line, but I don't think that this secondary has gotten a lot of love. Like this is a secondary that has Bradbury and CJ Gardner-Johnson and Darius Slay. Like this was one of the best secondary units in football, and I don't think it was talked about enough. The Philadelphia Eagles secondary, I think, is the reason why they're in the Super Bowl. Because to Guru's point, like they had this O-line last year and they won 9 games. And I know they didn't have A.J. Brown, and obviously A.J. Brown made a bit of a difference as far as the ability for Jalen Hurts to take that next step. But like Jalen Hurts didn't play bad football last year. He didn't play MVP caliber football last season. He didn't play bad football last season. Like the ability for this secondary to be able to hold its own against wide receivers on a week-to-week basis, on a down-to-down basis, on a drive-to-drive basis, and give the front 4 extra time to get back to the quarterback, in my opinion, is ultimately what led to the Philadelphia Eagles not only just having one of the best defenses in football, but also led to them winning a bunch of games, shutting down a bunch of teams, and getting them to be playing in Arizona in a couple of days.
I like the addition of Hassan Reddick up front, to be quite honest. And like, I'm not discrediting what you're saying. I just think that those lanes are really, really dominant. And if you dominate the line of scrimmage, you're not going to lose football games.
Of course, but I think that the way that Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles bought into improving the secondary, I think, because again, like the front 4 can only do as much as the back 7 can do, and vice versa, right? Like if the back 7 is garbage, it doesn't matter how elite your front 4 is. If the quarterback is able to just carve up the defense, even if there is defensive tackles and D linemen in his lap every time he throws the ball, and vice versa. If your front 4 can't get pressure, then he's got all day to make things happen. You're bound to make. So like that secondary, I think, is the most underrated part of this team, and I don't think it was talked about enough. Before we move on to the other side of the ball, Steezy A. Smith, who just likes to show up late all the time, has finally decided to grace us with his presence. Steezy, what's up, man?
Man, what is going on, y'all? Long time no talk, long time no see. Hope everyone's feeling blessed. Happy to be here.
Also, I just want to point out, and Justin's been here a couple times. I just have to say this because this is the first time I've seen you since the off season when you yelled at me about the Denver Broncos.
You should have come, Steezy.
I wouldn't be the human being that I am if I didn't acknowledge that you were wrong and you yelled at me about it, and you also ducked me all season. It's nice to see you, though. I'm glad you're here.
I wouldn't use the word duck. I would use the word life. But however you want to frame it, it's your show. So
it's better for my narrative if I let my people know that you were ducking me as opposed to
right. And at the end of the day, I mean, we are trying to entertain the people out there. So if that word I guess enhances that narrative, then go for it.
No, it's all good. So we'll start with you. The Kansas City Chiefs. How'd they get to the Super Bowl this year, man?
Man, honestly, I've been asking myself that same question for some time now, because after they lost Tyreek Hill, I was like, this team is not going back to the Super Bowl. And I don't know if you guys remember me dropping this video. I hope you don't remember me dropping this video, because I took a lot of flame. I took a lot of heat. And I wasn't even definitively saying that the Chiefs were the best team or the worst team, excuse me, in the AFC West. But in the offseason, I dropped a video called "Are the Chiefs the worst team in the AFC West?" And in that video, I kind of just broke it down. I was like, yo, they're missing a top 5 wide receiver in Tyreek Hill, a guy that was critical, that was very essential to their victory against the Buffalo Bills in the championship round last year. People forget, or every time people mention that 13 seconds that the Chiefs took to beat the Bills, essentially, I guess to take the game to overtime and win, whatever. But people always mention Patrick Mahomes and never mention Tyreek Hill, But Tyreek Hill made a huge play on special teams. Tyreek Hill made a huge play on that last drive, and so I just never hear his name. And so for the Chiefs, I mean, I guess going back to the question, it really just comes down to the brilliance of the big three over there. And I'm talking about Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. No disrespect to Chris Jones. I mean, I guess you could call it Fantastic Four, whatever you want to call it, but it really just comes down to the brilliance of those three masterminds. The best quarterback in football, best tight end in football, best coach in football, a top 10 quarterback, argue a top 5 quarterback in the history of football, a top 5, top 1 tight end in the history of football, and then a top 3, top 5 coach in the history of football. And not to discredit anything or everything else that's gone on in Kansas City, but without those three and their brilliance, I mean, I don't know where they'd be. So I guess I say all that to say that the Chiefs made the Super Bowl because of those three. Simple as that.
Justin, how'd the Chiefs make it back to the Super Bowl for the third time in 5 years?
I'm glad Steezy started this just to show you wide receivers do not win football games. They were able to lose Tyreek Hill, and look, guess what? Right back here all over again, because wide receivers do not win football games. Just to add to Steezy, you're talking about top 10 all-time quarterback, and he just found ways. Also, the head coach just found ways to diversify this offense and make it more, possession-based, more so than a quick strike offense that we're accustomed to while Tyreek Hill was there. So obviously, you had to lean more on Travis Kelce, but more it was making sure solidifying that offensive line. And in solidifying that offensive line, then they were willing to actually run the ball more. So you saw the emergence of Isaiah Pacheco as the season progressed in the second half. And I think that having more balance with Pacheco, with Kelce, just, they diversified that offense where it needed to be diversified before, simply because you were no longer that quick strike offense without a Tyreek Hill. But, again, sorry that Steezy is done playing Chris Jones, but you really can't, because he is arguably, he is the third most important player. You could argue even second most important player on this roster. And I think to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, he's actually going to have to be the best player on the field in Super Bowl 57. So the impact that Chris Jones has had, whether rushing the passer outside, disrupting offenses on the inside, has given that interior of this defense, we talk about underrated. I think what they do up front with him, Frank Clark is not as good as he was before, but with Chris Jones, what he does up front is an underrated part of this Kansas City defense. So I'm going to say the rise of, or the gradual or consistent improvement of Chris Jones, the improvement of the offensive line, the rise of Isaiah Pacheco, and just a top 10 quarterback finding ways to win with Travis Kelce and his head coach.
Look at Justin just stealing all the talking points for the rest of it. Guru, how'd the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl?
To be honest with you, obviously, I mean, Patty Mahomes, man. This dude is incredible. Like, you watch the films, man, like the things he does, it just enhances, so he's a force multiplier. So he just enhanced everything. And obviously the creativity and innovation of Andy Reid, that plays an integral part as far as their offense. And just having fluidity, having them being fluid as far as being creative, as far as trying new things, because they have the ultimate eraser, Patrick Mahomes is the ultimate eraser. He makes up for every lap. Obviously, I know Chris Jones had a hell of a season, but you watch the films, man, like this is a stats guy. You know, I'm not a stats guy, but I got to do a stat thing for y'all in this show. Like I think it was this past game against Joe Burrow, the championship game, whatever that game was. You know, that was the first time Chris Jones had a playoff sacks. You know, like his whole career, that was his first playoff sack. Let me repeat that. His first playoff sacks. That included the Super Bowl run. So all this Chris Jones, you know, rhetoric, I think is more Bucks watchers. You know what I'm saying? But when you put the film on, I'm telling the truth, Frank Clark in the playoff is way more productive than Chris Jones. So I'm not too rah on Chris Jones. I think everything is about the ultimate eraser, which is just like what Tom Brady used to do with the New England Patriots. They never were the most athletic. They never were, you know, the best overall, like talent-wise, but he's just the ultimate eraser. Those guys don't make mistakes. Patrick Mahomes is the ultimate eraser, man. So he erased everything, man. He cleaned everything. So I think he helps that defense that's really not very good. I think the receiving core is not very good. But when you have the ultimate eraser, a one-man machine, that he's just like he's just different, man. This cat is different. I don't have any verbiage to describe this dude, what he does on film, what he does on tape. So I think it's come down to basically Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid creativity.
Payton.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty plain and simple. They have the best head coach and quarterback duo in the entire NFL. And when you have, obviously we know quarterback is the most important position in the entire league. When you have a guy in Patrick Mahomes who is head and shoulders above everyone else in the NFL at that quarterback position, it's hard to like be too worried about when Tyreek Hill leaves and goes somewhere else, because they're always going to be able to find guys. Sure, you can't throw it to Tyreek. You don't have that option anymore. But you saw Mahomes. He started sprinkling it around a little bit more. And one guy who all of you forgot to mention, who I want to bring up and I want to show some love to on the Kansas City Chiefs, is Jerick McKinnon. Oh my goodness, what a game changer he has been catching the ball out of the backfield. He has 9 touchdowns this year. That's second on the team. And that's as a running back. He stepped up this season. We saw Isaiah Pacheco step up this season because Clyde Edwards-Helaire was not able to fill that role as the lead back. But Isaiah Pacheco got his chance. He took the opportunity for it, and then they had Jerick McKinnon catching the ball out of the backfield to add more of a dynamic to that offense.
And real quick, Peyton, that's a very good choice with Jerick McKinnon. I think the value of Jerick McKinnon is not about really catching the ball out the backfield. I think his biggest value when you watch the film, he's one of the best run pass protection back in all of football. You look at a crucial situation, man, this dude light people up, and that gives Mahomes that extra juice. So you look at him in the playoff, he hasn't been very productive, but you watch the film, this dude pick up every freaking blitz you could bring up, every type of blitz. So I think you're very right about that. I think he's undervalued, but I look at it more as far as the protection aspect of his value.
And real quick, Guru, just to kind of add to that, because he's so elite in pass protection, that's why he's on the field, and that's why he's able to garner so many receptions, so many catches. I had him on a whole bunch of my fantasy football teams, and I was just wondering where all these stats was coming from. But a lot of times when these pass catching backs are spending so much time on the football field, it's not necessarily or entirely because they're great pass catchers. It's because they're great pass protectors first, and then secondly, they have great hands, great route running, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of just wanted to stamp that point that you said, Guru, but also a great point by you, Peyton.
Usually when when Guru agrees with you, you're wrong. That's not a good sign. But I mean, in this case, Payton, you're 100% right. Like I agree with you. I think Jerick McKinnon is the reason. I think the one thing that this Kansas City Chiefs team was sorely missing was that extra person they can kind of throw in there to be a blocker and assist that O-line, especially in the backfield. When you look at a guy in Pat Mahomes who oftentimes may need that couple extra seconds to when the play breaks down to kind of move out of the pocket, whether it's left or right, up or down, whatever, to make things happen. So Jerick McKinnon's presence has definitely been important. I'm going to move the show around because we're technically halfway through the show, and so I guess this would be our halftime. And Justin Marville is only a fan of Rihanna because she's from Barbados, not necessarily because he enjoys her music, which is blasphemous for Justin Marville nonetheless. So Rihanna's doing the halftime show this year. And I think that's incredible. Can we just throw some guesses on what we think the first song is going to be?
Ooh, I think Run This Stone is going to be the first one. Either Run This Stone or actually what's my name, because she's been gone for so long. So she's gonna want to remind everybody, it's Isaiah, it's Rihanna here coming back. So I'm going to say, yeah, what's my name? Yep.
Justin, I forgot to mention this. Oh, my bad.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
But real quick, Justin, I forgot to mention this on your show the other day, but this is actually one of my all-time favorite Rihanna songs. And so to answer your question, Dwayne, I'm gonna say Disturbia.
To start, that's not bad.
Well, just to cancel myself out the panel with this one, I don't give a damn about no damn halftime show. I don't give a damn. I never cared for it. That's the time I go chill, do whatever I got to do. So she can sing whatever the hell she wants to sing. I don't give two shits about it.
I told you from the start to cut this man's mic, and you did not. Oh dear!
I've never watched none of the halftime show in the history of football, so it's like, and I ain't gonna start now. I don't care who it is. So
listen to me. I'm here now. Hold on, Marcus. You allowed this man to talk nonsense about receivers winning games. I know the blasphemy. A billionaire, Barbados national hero. He is coming here and discrediting Rihanna.
No, I'm discrediting the halftime show.
I am not having it. I am not having any of this. This man talks about he's analytics and he knows football and this and that. He does not know music. He should not be here. How dare you come here now to come and tell the good public who is coming, half of which are coming to see Rihanna, screw the Chiefs, screw the Eagles, and you are telling me you're not watching a halftime show?
Hey, the only music I know is defense, defense, defense. That's the only music I know, buddy, man. That's the only...
Terrible.
Man,
Hey, we think who's going to be at that.
Man, I can't even lie to you. I'm kind of with Guru on this one. I didn't even know Rihanna was playing in the halftime show until I saw this.
Guru.
And to be honest with you, I could probably only name like one Rihanna song off the top of my head, and that's Umbrella. And like that's it. Like I gotta be honest, man. I saw that question and I was sweating.
Oh, I'm disappointed.
Hey, look, I'm not trying to like take sides here, but I will just say if it wasn't for Rihanna, I probably wouldn't be tuning in because just like Guru, it's not that I don't care about the halftime show, but I usually do look at the halftime show as a time for me to kind of get away from the game. But because it is Rihanna, I'm gonna tune in just for a little bit though, because like I said on Justin's show, she is so damn fine. I got at least appreciate some of that beautiful feminine radiant energy, and so I'll tune in for a little bit, but I'm not gonna tune in for the whole thing.
I hope that your followers are seeing now why that they're supposed to be listening to me, watching my show, and taking all of my takes. Because we have three guys who have now admitted they cares nothing for the halftime show, and two who knows nothing of Rihanna. This is utter nonsense.
No, I never said I don't know Rihanna. Don't get it twisted. See, look, he always want to put stats in my face. No. I never said anything about not liking Rihanna. I'm just saying she's coming in my world, which is the football world. So no.
This is a honest world that we're just living in. If you haven't learned that by now, shame on you.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Marty Marcus. Payton, you my guy, man. Don't worry about it. I told you those buffoons. Hey, Steezy, come on, you come over.
Payton, 2.5 minutes ago, I told you, if Guru's ever agreeing with you, it means you're wrong. Now you see this is ridiculous. And also, shame on all three of you for just dismissing the great Rihanna like this. Like, why are we doing this?
Wait, me?
Why?
No.
I can't believe you. I can't believe all three of you. You know what? It's okay though. I expect nothing less of Guru because the only thing Guru cares about is that whiteboard and his computer in the wee hours in the morning. And look, he likes to say he watches film. We know what kind of film he really watching at 4 o'clock in the morning. But it's okay. Let's get back to the game. Payton, we'll start with you.
Oh man,
Eagles. What is going to be the key to their success if they want to win their second championship in franchise history?
They're going to have to try to find a way to hang with Patrick Mahomes. Keep the ball out of his hand, keep running the football, and control that clock. If the Eagles win the time of possession, they're going to win the game. And yeah, that's like a cliche. Everyone says that, blah, blah, blah. But this is how the Eagles win games. They control the clock. and they run the football well, and Jalen Hurts makes those big plays when he has to. And he has been very great at that this year. That's why he had an almost MVP year. But the other guy on the other side of the football, he was the MVP. So you're going to want to make sure he doesn't have the ball as much as possible.
Guru, I guess this is your time to shine, dude. What's the Eagles? Since you want to be an Eagles fan,
No. I want Mr. Offensive line and defensive line to go because we know what he wants to talk about.
You want Justin to give us another soliloquy about the trenches? No,
Exactly.
No.
Let's talk about this trenches like it's 1950 football. Let's go to the trenches.
What are the keys to Philadelphia's success come this Sunday in Arizona?
You said Guru or do you say me?
Guru, I don't want to hear you talk about the trenches, Justin. I don't. For that, bro. In fact, I'm not even going to let you answer this question. It's not happening.
Oh, man. Thank goodness. So we can save us from the trenches talk because
trenches, it's 23, bro. We watch football in color, not black and white anymore. That's
Football is football, guys.
Yikes. Go ahead, Guru.
Hey, so when I analyze this game, man, like I said, I went back and watched every single game those two teams played, man. Like I sat here for this whole week, watched every fucking game the Eagles played, every fucking game the Chiefs played. What it comes down to me is like the Eagles are a better team. Overall aspect of them in every level, the Eagles are a better team. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is the best player on the field, but I love the Eagles offense, how they match up versus the Chiefs defense. And I think that's going to be the key. And I don't think Patrick Mahomes could do anything about that because he's not going to be on the field while this situation is going on. So I think the Eagles are going to attack the Chiefs in multiple facets. So, for instance, if the Chiefs kind of want to play one safety, which is put 8 men on the box, right? And I believe the outside, as far as the receivers, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and even tight end Dallas Goedert, who I believe is going to have more production than Travis Kelce this game. But I think it's just a mismatch because I don't think the Chiefs could actually line up with a single high safeties against the skill sets, even though Justin don't like it. But as far as the skill players on the outside, you know what I mean? So, but if they do want to play, because the Chiefs are predominantly 2 safety high, they like to play 2 safeties on top. So if that's the case, then you can see the Eagles run the ball quite a bit because then it's basically the numbers, it's an even amount of numbers between blockers and defenders. But then there's going to be one key guy that's not going to be blocked, which is the quarterback. So I think the Eagles have a more diversified way of as far as winning this ball game than I do see the Chiefs, because I think if the Chiefs are going to win this game, it's going to be a superhero effort by Patrick Mahomes. We know he could do that, but honestly, I think Patrick Mahomes right now is coming on a knife in a gunfight, and I think the Eagles got the guns, and I think the Chiefs have a knife, and I don't see him winning this game. But like I said, I think it's going to come down to what kind of defense the Chiefs wants to play. If they want to stay 2 safety back, I think they're going to get bloodshed with the run game. If they want to bring an 8-man in the box, I think A.J. Brown is going to be the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Bold prediction, MVP of the Super Bowl, A.J. Brown. Steezy, we're skipping over Justin, I swear. Steezy, what are the keys to this Eagles' success come this Sunday?
Man, honestly, it's going to come down to the trenches for me. You know, I don't want to sound like Justin 2.0.
Nope. We're not doing it. It's 2023, Steezy. We're not doing this.
Football is football.
We're not doing this.
Hey, I've never seen the trenches won the MVP ever.
If you're watching,
that is the laziest take. One in the trenches. That's lazy. That's
I was going to elaborate, though. I wasn't just going to leave it at that. But
I'll give you a second chance. Go ahead.
Okay, no, what I wanted to say, and you know, we've seen this in the past. Remember the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Remember when they absolutely they didn't blitz, but I'm talking about as far as the scoreboard. They just absolutely blitzed the Chiefs at a Super Bowl 55, or was it 54? I'm not exactly sure. One of those two. But it's getting pressure after the quarterback, right? And I think somebody had mentioned this earlier, but the Philadelphia Eagles, they don't need a blitz. They don't need to send extra guys to get after the quarterback. And not only is getting after Patrick Mahomes on a bum ankle, on an ankle that's not 100%, one of the keys to Philadelphia, you know, winning this football game, they could also cause turnovers by getting after the quarterback. Like we talked about, and as we all know, Patrick Mahomes' ankle is not 100%. He's still a great quarterback with or without, you know, a bum ankle. But, you know, let's say he throws a turnover here or two. I mean, here or there. I mean, that could instantly turn the game around. And Philadelphia has one of the best turnover margins or best turnover differentials in the NFL. And honestly, that's how they've been winning football games all year long, by getting after the quarterback. You don't put up 70 sacks, and that's the third most all time, two after the 1984 Bears, who had 72. You don't just put that up just out of nowhere, right? And so I think for me, it's as simple as that. Yes, the Chiefs have a much improved offensive line. It's not as bad as it was a couple years ago against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but man, that Philly offensive line or that defensive line is just absolutely monstrous. And who knows? I understand Patrick Mahomes is great against the blitz, but maybe Philadelphia decides to mix it up a little bit. Maybe they decide to, throw in a blitz or two here or there when the Chiefs least expect it. You never know, but I think it's all about the Eagles' pass rush. Not only can they get after the quarterback, and not only are they the best at doing so, but it could lead to turnovers, which could lead to an ugly outing for the Chiefs. We'll see.
I think this game starts and ends with Jalen Hurts. And I know we're going to talk about Jalen Hurts in just a second. As far as
so wait, hold on. We brought me on the show not to discuss keys to victory, or are we serious here?
Yeah, 100%. You're not going to talk us about the trenches.
But hold on.
No,
but hold on. Here, no. I am here to talk about football.
Hey,
hold
let
on.
him talk about the trench coat, man. This is like a halftime show, so I'll give you a chance to go use the bathroom.
I'm here to educate kids, right? And what you said is correct, right? So hold on. You cannot afford, first thing first, I've started to side Nick Sirianni a bit, and he's gonna have to keep his emotions in check. I prefer level-headed, level-minded coaches who don't get too high or too down. And in saying that, because of his high ankle sprain, don't get lulled or fooled into blitzing. You have to hope or just rely on your front four getting after Patrick Mahomes. And there's a reason why. Not only is Mahomes one of the best, if not the best, quarterback over the last 4 or 5 seasons against the blitz, but the biggest key to winning this football game, on top of that, is to make sure to take away the security blanket in Travis Kelce. So, no matter where he goes, I'm throwing somebody underneath and somebody over the top against Travis Kelce. If someone else is going to beat me, so be it. If it's going to be Isaiah Pacheco, if it's going to be Jared McKinnon, if it's going to be Juju Smith-Schuster, let those guys beat you. But make sure that Travis Kelce feels you coming off the line of scrimmage. Make sure you have somebody underneath him and over the top, and let that football go somewhere else. And in trying to get home with 4 people and shadowing Travis Kelce the entire game, you're going to force Patrick Mahomes to hold on to the ball a lot longer than he probably wants to, and that is where you get home with your sacks. But you have to keep your emotions in check. You can't get blitz happy because you know he has a high ankle sprain. Just stay home with the 4, shadow Travis Kelce with as many with many defenders as possible, and force everyone else to beat you.
That's a good take, man. But For the last couple of years, though, Jonathan Gannon, the DC for the Eagles, he's not a blitz guy. The Eagles are one of the least blitz since the Sirianni staff have been in the Eagles staff. I'm telling y'all, they blitz, they might blitz maybe 1 or 2 times in 3 weeks, in 3 games. I sat here and rewatch all their games. They're a zone concept team, and I don't see them switching. They just don't blitz. I don't think they even knows how to scheme a blitz, to be honest with you. So I think that's a good take, and I think they're going to stick with their guns, man. I don't see them being a blitz type team.
The Philadelphia Eagles, I think they're winning losing this game is going to come down to Jalen Hurts, right? If Jalen Hurts is what most people in Philadelphia think he is, Jalen Hurts is going to have to prove it. We haven't seen many instances down the stretch of the regular season so far in this playoffs where Jalen Hurts has had to be the guy when it really mattered most, right? It just hasn't been the case. And I know that the Chiefs are banged up on both sides of the ball. I know that Pat Mahomes has only one leg, really, but that's still Travis Kelce, that's still Pat Mahomes, that's still Andy Reid. And it wouldn't at all surprise me if this game is going to come down to whether or not Jalen Hurts can execute on the biggest stage in the biggest moment, right? And as Guru loves to say throughout the course of the season, right, a Week 6 game is not the same as a Super Bowl. It's just not. And we've seen Jalen Hurts over the course of the regular season show up big in the fourth quarter. But he's going to have to show up big in this game, from start to finish, and especially if in the fourth quarter, it gets to that point. He played great. He was MVP runner-up. I get it, but he is still a young guy. This is still his first rodeo. This is not Mahomes' first rodeo. This isn't Kelsey's first rodeo. This isn't Chris Jones' first rodeo. This isn't Andy Reid's first rodeo. And so while the Chiefs may be the underdog on paper, I do think that Jalen Hurts just has to show up and be the guy that he's been all season, which is showing up when it really matters most. If he does that, I think the Eagles win this game. If he can't do that, if he struggles to do that, if the Eagles start slow, whatever the case may be, the Eagles could be in for a long out night, and this could turn into an absolute barn burner. This could be a shootout, and usually in shootouts, we like to favor the Chiefs. So all depends. Payton, we'll start with you this time. The Chiefs, what do they need to do to be successful?
They need to let Pat Mahomes carve him up from the pocket. Just quick throws. Get the ball out quick. Don't let him try to make plays with his legs. If he has to, test the ankle out and be able to. But at the end of the day, when you have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, that's your key to victory. Those guys, like Mahomes is going to have to make the plays. And he's going to have to, like Guru said, put the cape on his back and beat a team that is frankly better outright on paper. And that's part of the heroics of great players like Patrick Mahomes and others. So I say it's quite easy. It's Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is the X factor in the game. Can they, if Travis Kelce is locked up, because we all know that's definitely the number one target that they're going to try to attack on defense, can guys like Marquez Valdes-Scantling, like he had an amazing game against Cincinnati. He was a big reason why they won that game. Can these other receivers step up and make plays like they have all postseason?
Guru, go ahead.
Frankly, I've been sitting here for the last 2 weeks, man, trying to rack my brains, bro. To be honest with y'all, how the hell is the Chiefs gonna win this game, dude? Like, I'm sitting here literally like, like Patrick Mahomes really have to be the Avengers. Like, he really need the Avengers. Like, he has to just have Iron Man. He has to have Superman. He has to have all the mans in the world to help him win this game. Because I can't answer this question because in my dead heart, like, I don't see any way possible. Regardless of injury, obviously if injuries happen or Jalen Hurts get hurt or some significant factors during the game time. But as far as us communicating right now, I just think it's one of those situations, man. It's like when you go to war, if you're fighting somebody that have knives and bow and arrow and they have a gun and I got an AK, like, I'm not going to lose, bro. So it's like I can't see it. I can't see the Chiefs. I don't care how great Patrick Mahomes is. I think he's really fighting with grapes, man. Their receiving core is nothing. And in the history of me watching football, and I've been doing this my whole life, dog. My whole life, I've never seen a team that's tight end centric win a Super Bowl. It just won't happen, man. It's a one-man show. I don't see it happening. A one-man show don't beat a whole team. That don't happen in a team sport. This ain't tennis. You know what I'm saying? This ain't MMA. This ain't no one-on-one battle. This is a team sport. Even though you got the best player, but I don't think they have the best team, and I think it's levels to it. And I think the Chiefs are like 2 levels below the Philadelphia Eagles overall as a team. So I really don't see it happen. My answer to this question is, if he does it, this would be the biggest historic, like Patrick Mahomes this is the biggest victory. If the Chiefs win this game, Patrick Mahomes is going down in the history of the world as one of the biggest victory in his whole life. I don't think anyone could have it. I just don't see it, bro. I just don't see it.
Open your eyes and you'll see it. Justin, what's the Chiefs' keys?
This is why you don't let Guru on shows. This is why Guru has never coached anyone's teams, because he's talking first thing first. He said he's never seen a tight end-centric team win Super Bowls. He's crazy, because the Baltimore Ravens, who were just on TV, their best offensive player was Shannon Sharp.
Oh my God! You talking about the Ravens? Who did with the defense? That was a tight end central team, or was that a defensive central team?
Yeah, hold on, I'm not finished yet. You spoke about offense. You spoke about offense. The Denver Broncos of
Terrell Davis
year of yes, and who was their best offensive weapon outside of the running back? Shannon Sharp again.
No, who's the best weapon for the Chiefs? No, outside. Come on, bro. Stop it.
Anyhow, to answer your question,
you reach it.
Win?
Justin, that's bad.
Hold on. How did the Chiefs win? It's like, I'm not as convinced about Jalen Hurts as everybody is, right? So, like, you have to be disciplined in how you play this football team, and it's not easy, but here's the thing. The first thing is, in your pass rushing, you have to be disciplined. the very, very first thing, you have to set the edge. Your pass rushers can't get too wide-eyed. They can't get too greedy. You can't duck inside. Because the moment that you duck inside, they're going to kill you on the outside. Whether it's Miles Sanders, whether it's Jalen Hurts, they'll kill you. So you have to always tell yourself, set the edge. Now, that's easier said than done when you're playing Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. But you have to set the edge. Anything that Philadelphia does has to be within the numbers, within the hash marks. You have to send everything up the middle. As I said before, Chris Jones has to be the best player on the field for them to win. Yes, the Chiefs like too high safety. You can't play too high safety, obviously, because the Philadelphia Eagles will just run the ball down your throat. You're going to have to bring an extra man in the box, if not two. So you're talking about 8 and 9 man fronts. You can't get too giddy-headed and going after Jalen Hurts. In this game, and I know y'all talk about A.J. Brown, but I told y'all over and over again, wide receivers don't win games. I am not as convinced about Jalen Hurts as everyone else is in the league. I will play 8 and 9 man fronts if possible, set the edge, and I'm going to dare Jalen Hurts to beat me from the pocket with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Show me time and time again. If you're going to beat me, you're going to have to beat me with your arm. I'm taking away that run. I'm not letting you get on the outside, on the edges, because that's what you and Miles Sanders want. I'm turning everything inside if you're going to run. And I'm going to play A.J. Brown, and I'm going to play Devontae Smith man on man, and dare you and say, Jalen Hurts, if you're going to beat me throwing this football.
Steezy, is there a key to success that hasn't been touched on for the Kansas City Chiefs?
He's still muted. Still muted.
Okay, well, while Steezy figures that out, I'll go. Look, as a Packers fan, it pains me that Marquez Valdez-Scantling is no longer on the team, because I agree with Payton 100%. Like this game is going to be determined by whether or not Marquez Valdez-Scantling can be productive, because the Eagles are going to focus on Travis Kelce. That's a fact, Guru. Like you can laugh all you want. That's the truth of the matter. Like Marquez Valdez-Scantling is going to have to replicate what he did in the AFC Championship game against the Cincinnati Bengals. He is. The other thing is, like, Jerick McKinnon is going to have to play great football. Like, this O-line, it's going to have to play great football. Like, this is going to have to be the best collective effort from the Kansas City Chiefs we have seen under the Pat Mahomes era. Like, it's going to have to be. Like, Guru, for some reason, doesn't believe that teams can beat this indomitable Eagles team that he just became a fan of 2.5 weeks ago. I don't know why. I don't know why he thinks that, because the Eagles have weaknesses and the Eagles can be beaten. And I think if there is a team to do it with their back against the wall, against the odd, it's Kansas City Chiefs. And you keep talking about somehow the Chiefs are bringing knives to a gunfight. No, they're bringing the biggest gun in the NFL in Patrick Mahomes to this gunfight. There is not a gun bigger than Pat Mahomes. There's not. You can't name one. He's the best player in football. He has been. Andy Reid, best coach in football, has been for the last 5 years now. Like, you cannot. There is no bigger gun than the gun that is the Reid-Mahomes connection. There is no bigger gun than the Reid-Mahomes-Kelce connection. It's just not. So you can talk about A.J. Brown, you can talk about Devontae Smith, you can talk about Josh Sweat, you can talk about the O-line, you can talk about Jalen Hurts, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, Guru. The fact remains that there is no bigger gun than the Kansas City Chiefs. And they've shown us that time and time again. And I would take Pat Mahomes on a leg and a half over Jalen Hurts in this game. I would. I really would. Jalen Hurts just don't think fantastic, but Pat Mahomes is better.
I don't think the Chiefs want, like, if you're going to win this game, I don't think offense is going to be it. Like, you can't, I don't think it's wise to get into a shootout with this Eagles team. Like, I think you're going to have to make this a slugfest. You're going to have to make the possessions, like, you're going to have to try to ball control this. You're going to have to try to really time a possession and simply just keep them off the field. Like, because if you're out there trying to score points, believe you, I don't think you have the weapons or the personnel to outscore Philadelphia in this team. That's why I said, and I turn it to defense. You're going to have to contain this Philadelphia offense, because if you're relying on Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce to win you this game, I don't think you can put up a ton of points and hope to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think that wins.
The Kansas City Chiefs has been relying on Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce all season, and they were one of the highest scoring offenses in football this year.
I get that, but again, or let's go on strength. The Philadelphia Eagles are one of the best, if not the best, pass rushing unit in all of football. Your quarterback is playing on one leg. You don't want to sit down there and have Patrick Mahomes slinging the ball 30, 35, 40 times because that's not a recipe for success unless you plan to throw a ton of screens to take advantage of that front fours, getting after you. Like, you don't want Patrick Mahomes sitting back there throwing 35 or 40 times against his team because that's what Philadelphia wants. And Guru doesn't want to hear this, but the lone weakness of the Philadelphia Eagles is up front and running the football. Like, unfortunately, that's not what the Kansas City Chiefs want to do. So that plays again into Philadelphia's hand. But I don't know.
The Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid want to win the football game. They want to going to do whatever is necessary to bring the Lombardi Trophy back to Kansas City. Why are we limiting the ability of the Kansas City Chiefs to be versatile and flexible and make things happen? Why are we doing that?
Because it's not a versatile offense.
You are who you are. Hit in the head with that helmet because he's speaking the truth. Finally, took him a little bit. He bumped his head. So finally talking real shit. Thank you, Justin. It took you about an hour till you finally realized. Maybe you didn't play. Lean back a little bit. Bump your head some more so you got some more senses knocked into you, man. Beautiful take.
Like, you're going
as always, if Guru is seconding your take, it's not a good one.
I'm saying, like, if you're gonna throw the ball a lot, then it's got to be a ton of screens to take advantage of the aggressiveness of Philadelphia. That's what it's going to have to, because we saw it against San Francisco, and San Francisco has a great offensive line. The moment that you sit down in these long developing routes, they are going to get after you. Look at the two plays in which they got their two quarterbacks hurt. The moment that they went on a play action feed, that was a long developing pass route. And what happened? Hassan Reddick defeated the backup tight end. Bam! On his elbow, and Brock Purdy was out of the game.
Wait a second.
The very next quarterback, they put Josh Johnson, another play action feed, long developing route. Took too long. Then the Philadelphia Eagles were in their backfield.
Wait a second. I know we do acknowledge that even on one leg, Pat Mahomes wouldn't just be standing as a sitting duck. We actually watched a couple of years ago Patrick Mahomes throw footballs in positions that we didn't even think that you can throw the football. Like, we're talking dropping back 15 yards and fading off 1 foot.
And he lost that game.
The sheer insinuation that Pat Mahomes is going to struggle the way that Brock Purdy and Josh Johnson struggled is absurd, because he's better by light years. And it's not
fine, right? But again, we saw the same situation just 2 years ago. Like, when you didn't have an offensive line and you had a team that did not have to blitz to get after you as great, and he was healthy then. As great as Patrick Mahomes was,
this O-line is better than that O-line that they had a couple years ago.
Which is fine, again, no doubt. But now you're dealing with a high ankle sprain and your mobility is not exactly 100%. So, like, to sit back and throw 40 times against his front four is asking for trouble.
If there's any quarterback in football I would trust to throw 40 times to win me a championship, it's the best quarterback in football. Steezy, what's the keys to success for Kansas City?
I'm glad Justin said what he said, because this is actually a perfect segue into who my X factor is if the Chiefs are going to win this football game, and that man is going to be Kadarius Toney. People forget that Kansas City did trade a 3rd and a 5th round pick for Kadarius Toney, and a lot of reports have been that they're really trying to get him involved in the game plan. There are a lot of plans to get him heavily involved in the game plan, and if Patrick Mahomes is going to be throwing 40-plus times, I think a good amount of those times is going to be to Kadarius Toney, who is absolutely electric with the football in his hands, one of the best at just generating and manipulating defenders and being able to generate yards after the catch. I mean, when I saw this guy with the Giants last year and the couple of games that he was able to play with the Daniel Jones, he had 2 straight, I think it was 150-plus yard games. It was against the Saints and the Cowboys, and I watched the entirety of both of those games. I had him on my fantasy teams, and I was just like, this guy is going to be good. He just cannot stay healthy. He's had plenty of time to rest up. And so Patrick Mahomes just needs to keep doing what he's been doing all year long, but he needs to have his Robin, right? Obviously, his Robin is Travis Kelce, but because they are going up against a superior team, I think he needs another Robin, and that's going to come in the form of a Kadarius Toney. Not only can you utilize him, with screens and a whole bunch of underneath stuff if you need to. And I know Philadelphia is going to prevent, big plays, especially if they do keep two safeties back there. But Kadarius Toney, you could use him down the field. He's absolutely electric. He's one of the fastest receivers in football, and he's just absolutely super dynamic and explosive. And so if Kansas City is going to win this football game, they need two Robins, not just Travis Kelce, but Kadarius Toney as well.
Man, you know what I love about this? This one, they're playing a superior team because we're naming guys now, dude. Like this, what we call them Jags. This is just guys. First one, he said MVS. Like this dude never even have over 500-600 yards ever. You know what I'm saying? He had one highlight. Ooh. And now this guy named Kadarius Toney. I'm like, come on, man. You all realize they have Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, 2,000-yard certified NFL gangsters. And we talking about straight up homeless guys named Kadarius Toney. We didn't have a home. He was homeless, though. He was a bum in the street. You know what I'm saying? And we talking about MVS. They kicked him out of his house. Like, we're talking about no-namers over here. The Chiefs has no offensive weaponry. The receiving core is garbage. Like, seriously, they're trash. And I feel bad for you for picking them in your fantasy teams. I feel terrible for you. I bet you lost your fantasy team for picking up MVS and Toney. Those dudes are a non-factor, bro. Like, we're talking about Toney and MVS. Come on, y'all.
We're talking
hold on. No. Hold on. Nah, Guru, I'm not going to let that off, bro. Hold on. First of all, I didn't talk about MVS. I was not saying anything about MVS. I don't know who brought up MVS.
Someone said MVS.
Somebody said it. It wasn't me, so I'm not going to take responsibility for that.
I said it.
Okay, Dwayne said it. But as for Kadarius Toney, my brother, you're the filmmeister, right? Are we not watching any film on Kadarius Toney? Do we not watch film on guys that fly under the radar? I know you watched him over at Florida, and I know you watched him when he was healthy in New York. You can't even compare him to MVS. That is just disrespectful. There's a reason why Kansas City traded a third-round pick. Kadarius Toney is super. Bro, watch, bro. If he has a good game, I'm going to be flooding your DMs. Watch.
Please do. I don't think Kadarius Toney, Thomas, whatever his name is, I think he's a Jag, to be honest with you. I put like this. If he get a touchdown, they'd be down by 30 points. Ooh, he gets a healthy calorie touchdown. But as far as going to the game plan, I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles are looking at the scouting report. And you know what? Let's focus and worry about Kadarius Toney. Absolutely not.
That's literally Steezy's point, Guru, is that they're not going to be worried about Kadarius Toney, and the Chiefs are going to take advantage of it. That's literally
exactly.
That's Steezy's
That's my point. That's my point. That's why I say he's an X factor.
That's a hell of an X factor, bro. That's a hell of an X factor, man.
Hey, I'm just looking at the reports though. All the reports that I've read, that I've heard, it's that he's going to be very heavily involved in the game plan. So don't be surprised, because one of the reasons why teams that upset other teams is because the team that's usually better, it's because they don't see something coming. So if they don't see Kadarius Toney coming, but Kansas City has him coming and they're not prepared for it, that's how you lose a football game. That's how you lose games, because you underestimate your opponent.
Guru, I do think football coaches shouldn't be stupid. I won't go as far as to say they're not stupid, because they have my eyes on a couple of them. But I do know, considering the injuries and they're going to take away Kelce, they're not going to be stupid enough to think that Kadarius Toney will not be a threat in this game. They have game plans for everything. They know
he's right now. I guarantee Jonathan Gannon is not. I 100% tell you right now, he is not worried about no Kadarius Toney. He's sleeping good at night. If I lose again because Kadarius Toney, you go. Thank you. Go to the middle of the field. Good job, son. You deserve a major contract. And I will live, and I bet you I'll live sleeping good at night. But he's not even thinking about, because you could put Avonte Maddox on him. You could put they've seen him before.
Avonte Maddox?
He came from the Giants, bro. They've seen him before. The Giants have not beat.
No, they saw Kadarius Toney with Daniel Jones. They didn't see Kadarius Toney with Pat Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy. There's levels.
Goodness. Y'all getting excited about little wide receivers.
there is a difference, Guru, and you know there's a difference. You don't want to admit there's a difference because you've been pushing this pro-Eagles, this nonsense flying Eagles fly propaganda that you would.
I just hope, right?
As a Commanders fan, by the way, you've been trying to push this pro-Eagles fly propaganda, and so it's against your base at this point politically for you to acknowledge that there's a chance, even a mediocre chance, a minuscule chance that Kadarius Toney has on this game.
If the Philadelphia Eagles win this game, I honestly hope that they give you a shout out. They put you on Instagram. They put it big at your handle, because I don't know a guy who is actually not an Eagles fan who has been talking about Philadelphia as much as
I am a films fan, and I watch.
Oh, you're a Commanders fan.
I said I'm a films, NFL films fan.
Commanders. Let's stand up. Who are we? The Commanders. That's you.
Listen here. We're not talking about trash, right? I'm not talking about Tony. I'm talking about Commanders. I'm talking about MVS. I don't want to talk about trash. It's not trash day. This is a Super Bowl. It's not trash day over here. All right? So I don't want to talk about any of that nonsense. My focus is like in the big game, big time players step up in big time games. We all know that. We all know the rhetoric, man. Big time players step up in big time games. Ain't no X factor players step up in big time games. It's big time players. And whoever is going to be the MVP, put like this, Kadarius Toney's not even on my list when I went to the movie to be the MVP. On the list will be thrown out there.
First of all, nobody said Kadarius Toney's going to be an MVP. Where are you getting this from? Nobody said that. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
Hey.
Nobody said Kadarius Toney is winning MVP. Now, if someone puts a bet on that, they'd win a buttload of money. They'd be good.
Right.
We're saying that Kadarius Toney's going to be MVP. What we're saying is, as you've alluded to, because you pushing all this pro Eagles fly nonsense as a Commander fan. What we're saying is, if the Eagles have the mindset that Kadarius Toney is this much of an afterthought, then that plays right into the hand of Andy Reid, plays right into the hand of the Kansas City Chiefs, because they're going to have to use every player on that field if they want to win this game. And Kadarius Toney is a part of that. You are just coming out. This is what you do, Guru. When you get so upset because you don't think a take makes sense, you go feelings over facts instead of facts over feelings. And you throw out all these hyperbolic statements like Kadarius Toney for MVP. No one said Kadarius Toney's going to win MVP. What he can do, he can make the Eagles pay if they don't pay him any mind. Now, I'm not going to ask you, because I already know who you're going to pick. You're going to pick the Eagles. So, forget it. Your head is shiny and you're sweating and the light's bouncing off of it. Paying. Winning Super Bowl 57 this time.
The Chiefs, because I believe in magic, and Mahomes is magic. Mahomes is the man. I believe in superheroes. He's going to put on the cape. The Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid's going to beat his former team. He's going to cement himself on the Mount Rushmores of all-time NFL head coaches. And this is going to be a perfect moment. Right when you think they can't do it because the Eagles are this perfect team, like I've heard all year. But guess what? Mahomes is the perfect quarterback. And he is the perfect superhero to go out and pull off this upset victory.
Steezy, who's winning the Super Bowl this Sunday?
Man, real fast, I just want to address Guru, because he said that if you're a no-name player, you're almost going to have a no-name game in Super Bowls. And I just want to go back to Super Bowl 49 because, Guru, I know you remember this, but Chris Matthews, right? I don't know if you guys remember Chris Matthews, number 13, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. In the first half of that Super Bowl, he had 4 catches for 103 yards and a touchdown. Seattle had the lead at halftime, and everybody was proclaiming and clamoring for him to win Super Bowl MVP. I even remember I was a sophomore in high school, sending in as many votes as possible, voting for Chris Matthews. I was like, yo, he deserves to win Super Bowl MVP. Obviously, as we all know, Seattle imploded, and the Patriots ended up winning. But a guy like Chris Matthews literally came out of nowhere and kind of changed the trajectory of that Seattle pass game, and then he disappeared. But I guess that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to kind of combat his point about no-name players not having impacts in big games. But as far as my pick, I'm not going to stray away from this. I said this on Justin's show. Y'all probably seen it, but I'm going to rock with the Eagles. You know, like I said, I think they have more of a chip on their shoulder. I think they have more to prove. They have their own equalizer in Jalen Hurts. They're the better football team overall. And I think that a lot of these guys have been written off. Nick Sirianni's been written off. Jalen Hurts has been written off. and some people still aren't, I guess, of the notion that they're the best team in football. They dominate in the trenches. They have a better ground game. They literally have the advantages in everything. I know they don't have Patrick Mahomes. I know they don't have Andy Reid, but I got to roll with the Chiefs. I mean, with the Eagles. Excuse me. I think it's going to be a close one though, 28-26.
Justin, who's winning this game?
It pains me to say this because Guru's going to smile, but I have to say Philadelphia. I would love Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to win this. I really I want the dynasty. I want, Andy Reid to get over, or at least to give Philly some payback for, them unceremoniously dumping him. But the reality of the situation is that there are some mismatches in this game, and I can't pretend that they don't exist. The reality, let's go to Philly. If you're going to beat Philly defensively, or if you're going to attack Philadelphia's defense, you're going to have to run the football. You're going to have to play some power football up the middle. That's something that Kansas City does not do, nor do they want to do that. And I think reality is that Philadelphia is prepared for those screens that they're ultimately going to throw. And like you all said, if there's one quarterback you want to win throwing the ball 40 times, it's Patrick Mahomes. The problem is that's going to play right into the Philadelphia Eagles' hands. That's what they want. They don't want a running attack at them. They want Patrick Mahomes sitting back there and throwing the ball 40 times, and that plays right into the strength of their defense, which is the pass rush. On the opposite end of the football, I don't know that Kansas City's defense is disciplined enough. I don't know that their front seven is good enough to contain that rushing attack. They're going to have to bring extra players in the box, and still then, as I said, you're going to have, for them to win defensively, Frank Clark and Chris Jones are going to have to be the best players on the field. And still, even then, are those two players better than the three players I mentioned on that Philadelphia offensive line? Again, I talked about Jordan Mailata, I talked about Jason Kelce, and talked about Lane Johnson. That is the real strength of this Philadelphia Eagles team. And I think it's a mismatch in that trench. It's a mismatch on the other trench. So then I can't come and tell you that if football is won in trenches, that somebody other than the Philadelphia Eagles is going to win this football game.
Hey, real quick, I'm sorry, but I do got to go, y'all. So I just want to say, Dwayne, man, this has been so fun. I love y'all. Payton, Guru, Justin, Dwayne. Till next time, hope you guys have a great Sunday. Peace.
Yeah.
You too, man.
Look, there's a reason why Peyton and I we do things together, because great minds think alike. Like, I've never, ever in my wildest dreams thought I'd be getting on a show with Guru of all people and listen to him tell me that the great Patrick Mahomes, the indomitable Patrick Mahomes, let Guru tell it, can't win a football game despite all the odds. I can't believe it. This guy, with his best quarterback this, and best coach that, and best tight end this, and scheme that, and X's and O's, and I'm in analytics and not analytics, all this other nonsense that you spew from week 1 to week 17 into the postseason and beyond. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this football game. Are they going to blow out the Eagles? Of course not. These aren't going to get blown out, but they're going to win this football game. Like, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win. Am I surprised that Justin picked the Eagles? No, because Justin always finds a way to just line up on the wrong side of history all the time. The Chiefs are going to win this football game. They have Pat Mahomes. They have Andy Reid. They have Travis Kelce. They have talent. There's talent on this football team. Is it talent on the level of the Philadelphia Eagles? No, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it is. But I'm going to tell you that there's talent. I'm going to tell you that there's good players that are good at what they do, and they've gotten them this far, and they will be okay. Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl again, and they'll win by 3.
Please keep us, all of us, because I want to see everybody's face when I talk. First of all, before when Steezy left, all right, because I was going to say this before he left, just to combat him. He wants to use his word combat. Chris Matthews. I don't know who the hell Chris Matthews is. None of us know who the hell Chris Matthews is, man. He's the guy on Fox Business. That's the only guy, or MSNBC. That's the only Chris Matthews I know. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Oh, Chris Matthews. So that's on Steezy. Good thing he got the hell out of here. And Payton used to be my guy, but he's over there talking about if I'm going to have a cape, superhero cape. You ever heard of Thanos? They need the Avengers. And guess what? The Eagles of Thanos.
Thanos.
But like I said, guess what? There's no Avengers coming. There's no Iron Man coming to save Patrick Mahomes because he's in Miami. You know what I'm saying? There's no Spider-Man. There's none of those men are coming. He's by himself going against that man. So that's not going to happen. So all that cape wearing, you know what? Even Superman got a kryptonite. So take that cape off, all right? So no cape for Patrick Mahomes. And this guy, Justin, you know, he's a smart, intelligent guy.
All of a sudden, right?
He came to the good side. So I'm not going to say much about him because I like his end result. I don't like the process it took to get to the end result. But at the end of the day, in my school, as long as you got the answer right, I don't care how you got it. You cheat or you don't cheat, as long as you got the answer right. That's what I care about. And this guy, Marcus, talking about, oh, Mr. X's and O's, oh, Mr. Football Guru, blah, blah, blah. All thing I'm saying, football is the ultimate team sport. I mean, we all could agree on that. The ultimate team sport, meaning if I have the better team, I'm going to win the game. And I want to give you a quick little story here, man. You know, the guru right here, high school, you know, I played in more of a, I want to say predominantly minority school. Where's more people that look like me? So we used to play against
high school group.
We used to play against guys that look more like Payton, you know, and we had the better players. But for some reason, they work better as a team, even though we are better athletically, better than those guys. But as a team,
you're literally proving my point with this story.
So what I'm basically trying to say is we all decided, we're all intelligent human beings, except one, that the Eagles are a better team overall. You know, we talk about Andy Reid. Guess what? Andy Reid don't play the ball game. You know, you don't play. Andy Reid is on the sideline just like all of us. So Andy Reid can't save Patrick Mahomes from the defensive line coming at him. Andy Reid can't do that. He has about 10 seconds in the headset to make a decision. After that, Andy Reid, there's nothing Andy Reid could do. So take away, oh, he's the best coach. All right, take that shit out of the house, all right? Secondly, he's going against, come on, man, Patrick Mahomes. We all know. We talking about Kadarius Toney. We talking about MVS. This is guys, you just know their name because they're in the Super Bowl right now. You will never mention those guys. You never mention them in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Those guys are the fifth string weapons for Patrick Mahomes. Now the fifth stringers got to be first stringers. So that's not going to bode well for Patrick Mahomes. So what I'm trying to say is this is going to be an ugly Super Bowl. All y'all thinking, oh, the most exciting thing that's going to happen is Rihanna in the halftime show. It's going to be a beatdown, drag out, and it's going to be a double-digit victory from the Philadelphia Eagles. It might be at one point, because I've said this before, don't be shocked if it's going to be, the Eagles going to be up by 17 or maybe 24 points in this game because it's just a pure mismatch. All this cute stuff y'all talking about, it's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to a field goal. No, the Eagles are a superior team in all facets. Like what my man Justin said, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, secondary, receivers. Like the only thing I give the Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes. But like I always say, one man don't beat a whole entire team. And that's why on Sunday night, the Philadelphia Eagles, we hold the Lombardi Trophy. And we are going to talk about, damn, Patrick, you 1-2 in the Super Bowl.
I once again, just for all the people that don't know, Guru is a fan of the Washington Commanders, and he has come on this show tonight, Friday, February 10th, 2 sleeps before the Super Bowl, and is pushing pro-Eagles, pro-fly Eagles fly propaganda, and he is a Commanders fan. It is important that we recognize the irony that exists in everything that this man says. Baldini, listen, like you can sit here and you can talk to me about Thanos and you can talk to me about the Avengers. You can talk to me about this. You can talk to me about that. But like Jalen Hurts ain't Thanos, and neither is Nick Sirianni. They might be Batman, skinny Batman, swole Batman, fat Batman, whatever it is they are. They might be a bunch of Batmans, but they ain't Thanos. So I don't really know what to tell you. Like I really don't. Like I would never. This is, first of all, this is the same man that 2.5 months ago told me to never bet against Pat Mahomes. And what are you doing? You're betting against Patrick Mahomes. I just don't get it. I just don't get it, Guru. at the top of the show, you didn't want to hear Guru talk. You didn't want to hear Justin talk about the trenches. And now here you are talking about the trenches. Like, I don't understand what's wrong with you. Like, you can't play both sides of the fence, Guru. Pick a side, stay on it. Like pick a side and stay on it. It's okay. You know what? Again, you're a Commanders fan singing the praises of the Philadelphia Eagles.
See the kids up there watching.
You're trying to annihilate my character, which has nothing to do with the facts. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to beat around the bush. The fact of the matter is the Eagles are a better team, and I'm a lover.
I don't think anyone here is disputing that. I never said that.
So every time I watch sports in general, not even football, I was brought up the best team win the games.
We've seen numerous times in championship games in a bunch of sports over the last decade, 2 decades, where the better team.
Hold on, Payton, what?
2016 Cavs.
The Giants.
If you need a historical evidence of superheroes winning games against teams that are better than them, LeBron.
The thing is,
2016.
I love Patrick Mahomes, right? But the problem is I've seen this before. Like, I saw it against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's why I didn't pick the Chiefs to win that game either. Because, again, there was just too glaring of a mismatch. And there's no argument about this. Like, Patrick Mahomes is the best player on the field, without a shadow of a doubt. I don't think anybody is going to make that argument. The issue is that if you're going to ask Patrick Mahomes to win the game for you, then the Philadelphia Eagles are just going to smile because, like, yep.
And I'm going to ask Patrick Mahomes to do the thing he's done since he's been the starter.
But what happened against
the Chiefs? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to actually do. Football games.
What happened against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? The same thing happened against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You asked your best player to beat a team who wanted him to sit that in the pocket and pass to beat them, and they just got after him. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to do the same. Like, to sit down and ask Patrick Mahomes to win this game is playing right into the Eagles' hands. Like, that's what they want. If you told me that the Chiefs had a huge, big running game, this power running football team, then sure, I listen to that because the Eagles don't want that. But the Eagles want to sit back and tee off against a passer. That's what they want.
You know what? I was going to say something, Justin, but we're going to let that be. You hate the Eagles' bad rush defense. All right,
because
whatever.
they can't stop the run.
Guru, let it go.
I can't let it go because he's spreading straight up. That's the real propaganda he's been spreading all year long.
And all year long, the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's a fact.
All year long, the Philadelphia Eagles have been getting gashed up front on the run. That's not a surprise. That's not a shock.
In their closest games, in all of their games that were shootouts, in all of their games that came down to the wire, they gave up at least 90 yards on the ground, except for one. Like the proof is in the pudding.
I know you guys are box score guys. When I'm up by 20 points, I don't care if you guys
No.
We gotta just say, in all of their shootouts, in all of their games when it was close, they allowed at
games that they
least
were up 20 points. Let's talk to 2 games in particular. Since you want to forget 3, since you want to be so want to change the narrative of the game against the Green Bay Packers, who sat down, who the Philadelphia Eagles knew that the Green Bay Packers were only coming to run the football. The Philadelphia Eagles had not an answer against running. If Aaron Rodgers was any decent, if I was playing quarterback, the Green Bay Packers would have won that game had Aaron Rodgers been any brand of decent in that game. Against the Dallas Cowboys, the game that they lost, what happened? They got run right over. They handed the ball off with Zeke. They gave the ball to Tony Pollard, and the Philadelphia Eagles could do absolutely nothing about it. And the Commanders team that you so forget that you're supposed to be a fan of, and you have traded your maroon and gold for green, they got blown out in a nationally televised game. What did the Commanders do? The Commanders sat back in an I formation, handed the ball off the entire game, and the Philadelphia Eagles were clueless, could not do a single thing. We sat down and watched that Commanders offensive line completely dominate that game. There were no tricks and gimmicks. There were no sleight of hand. There was no magic. They did not pretend what they want to do. They handed off the ball every time, and the Philadelphia Eagles could not stop that. So yes, Guru, as perfect as you think this team is, they cannot stop the run. Unfortunately for Kansas City, they don't want to run the football.
31-21 EAGLES Eagles.
You're a Commanders fan. A Commanders fan.
Okay, I gotta come to his defense though, because like last year, all of a sudden, me as a Browns fan was like the biggest Bengals fan in the world.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it is though. That's terrible though. That's
Kind of
terrible.
close. It's kind of close.
No,
No, that's terrible though.
No, it's not. The difference is you didn't spend all 17 weeks of the season ignoring that the Eagles existed until 2.5 weeks ago. You didn't spend the entire season ignoring the Bengals. You ignored the Bengals throughout the season for what they were. And when your team, because of how bad they were last season,
first of all, I have receipts.
You hit your tail on the Bengals wagon.
I got receipts on my preseason because I put it up on IG that showed you. I told you I predicted the Eagles to have a hell of a season. Like I have receipts. I'll post it.
What you said was, Guru, I watch your show, bro. Like I don't know if you think I don't, but like I watch. I
What
sit
did I say?
and I watch. What you said was, and I'm paraphrasing, what you said was the Eagles would take that next step. You did not have the Eagles winning 14 or how many games they won this season. You did not have the Eagles
Next step,
in the Super Bowl. You did not have the Eagles playing in this game this Sunday 9 months ago. You didn't. You were talking about all this. The Rams are going to do this, and the Rams are going to do this. You acknowledged the Bucks. You even acknowledged the Packers a little bit in the offseason. You did. I watched you do it. I heard it in my own ears.
I like A-Rod.
The Philadelphia Eagles have had a fantastic season. Guru, you spent the entire season talking about the Commanders and how they're underrated, and how they do this and how they do that. You've been a Commanders fan from week 1 to week 16. You were especially a Commanders fan after that Monday night game that was nationally televised when your Commanders ran for the tune of 152 on your Eagles. That's what you did. Now all of a sudden, because the Eagles are the 1 seed in the NFC and they represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, now all of a sudden it's fly Eagles fly. It's EAGLES Eagles. It's Jalen Hurts this. It's AJ Brown that. It's Devontae Smith this. It's D-line this. It's O-line that. It's Nick Sirianni. It's chip on the shoulder. It's all this. Guru, stop it, bro. Just stop it. Just stop it.
Payton,
Just acknowledge that you are here for the ride and stop trying to masquerade as an Eagles fan, because 3 weeks ago you were a Commanders fan. Stop it.
Does anyone have a fire extinguisher? We need to cool Marcus off. What? Oh my goodness. Oh my god.
Glasses are fogging up, man. Jesus. Wipe their glasses, man. Get a handkerchief, get a napkin or something, man. Get a paper towel, bro.
Just stop.
You know when you're full of air, like you just blow. You know when you just blow on air. And all of a sudden, your glasses get fogged up because when it's foggy out, you just the air block it up because it's just spitting nonsense. All right, I know
about the Eagles for the past couple weeks, spitting nonsense. As a Commanders fan, spitting nonsense.
What does my fandom have to do with this? Is this a Super Bowl show or my fandom show?
Oh my God, Payton, Justin, tell everybody where they can find you. Speaking out here, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Go ahead, Pete.
You can't find me on anything because I don't have social media anymore, but you can find me on. So go, if you like me, go follow all these guys on the panel because that's where you're going to find me.
Yeah, you can come and find him on my show every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. That's hashtag thisJUSTin. Please put in the hashtag. You don't want Matt Skellerman, who may sound like Guru at sometimes. No, I'm joking. Guru knows his football. But hashtag thisJUSTin. For our short form content, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, and we are also on Twitter, hashtag thisJUSTin. Again, YouTube only for our shows, Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central.
First of all, like I love watching this guy's show. You guys know I'm your biggest fan. Payton, this is my first time meeting you, but I've seen you plenty of times and I heard plenty of your takes. I'm the biggest fan. You know, as much as, you know, Justin right here, Mr. Justin just always rub me off the wrong way. It's like sometimes he's like a lemon. When he squeezes, I'm like, just, you know, I don't like lemon, but I do like it in my Chipotle. I like lemon, but I still get a little squeeze every time. That's Justin. He's like my lemon. Just make me squeeze. but I love his content because he always get my blood flowing. And Marcus, this guy right here, man, talking about a guy. Like before I go to sleep, I see his content. I wake up, I see his content. Man, this guy is the hardest working freaking man on the freaking in all platform, man. I'm on TikTok, this guy's on it. I'm on Snapchat, this guy's on it. I'm on YouTube, this guy's in everything. And Marcus, if I see you do that dumbass shit on your head one more time, dude, if I see you trying to get 50,000 points one more time on my TikTok, I'm gonna block your ass, all right? He's addicted to that bullshit for the last, I swear to you, a month and a half. Well, y'all,
it's fun stuff.
Anyways, I like bothering those guys. So if you guys are just definitely on Justin and Marcus and channel, I'm sure y'all gonna run into me, man. I don't like to promote myself because I'm rated R. You know, my content is strictly rated R. So if you're not at least 22 and over, then please don't listen to my content. It ain't for you. You will never understand it because it's only for the G's, the G to the U to the R to the U. And I'm a football nerd. That's what I do. I'm not like those guys. They're very talented. I only have one talent, man. That's football. That's all I know. That's all I care about. That's the only thing I eat, sleep, and dream, man. But if you want to know any sports shit, those are guys who I go to. Marcus, Payton, and Justin, man. Those are my go-to guys every freaking morning, man. As much as Justin pissed me off every damn morning, but I still come back like a freaking crack addict, man.
The cocaine is good.
Hey, man,
cocaine is a wonderful drug.
So, it's always a pleasure to have these three gentlemen on the show. And Steezy, obviously, who had to leave early to go do the Bowl.
Talk about Chris Matthews, who we don't know who the hell he is.
I know who Chris Matthews is.
I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all four of these gentlemen that came on the show today. I appreciate all the others that have been on the show throughout the course of the season. There's too many to name, but JT the Don, Burton Germ, Durfin Dillon, Martin Sories. There's so many of you guys like Jalen Hunter, Blaine Spencer, Joe Chickality, all of you guys that have been on the show over the last season. It's been truly an honor and a privilege. I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. This is the final episode of this season. The show will return April 1st for WrestleMania. So we're going to take a month and a half off. In the meantime and in between time, please not only follow these guys, make sure you follow me, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook at GTP Marcus. Subscribe to the show on YouTube, subscribe to the show on Spotify, subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the show on iHeartRadio. Check out any content you've missed. I think that's it. So you guys have a safe weekend. You guys have a happy weekend. You guys enjoy your Super Bowl. If you live in Philly, enjoy your 2-hour delay. If you go to school, enjoy the 2-hour delay that the city of Philadelphia has granted you for Super Bowl Monday. And I'll let Guru one last time because I know he's itching to do it. If you'd like to chant the Eagles' name one more time, Guru, even though you're a Commanders fan, I'll let you.
Hey, Payton, before we get out of here, I want to get Payton contact because I'm gonna school him how to be the next Guru because he has potential. You know what I'm saying? EAGLES, Eagles.
You're a Commanders fan, bro. Commanders. Jeez. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And as always, you guys enjoy the rest.